How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, we're going to deal with some more fuckery, some more bullshit, and the enemy is always insulting our intelligence. When I finish presenting everything to the royal family, I'm going to point something out that came to me spiritually about why all of these things have been happening as long as we have been encountering the enemy. Just keep it right there. So, judge acquits 3 officers of Laquan Mcdonald cover-up. Says team was still a threat while on the ground. Okay. So let's not lose sight, because this is not an accident. Tomorrow, Jason Van Dyke will be sentenced, and they've been stalling the whole time. Now, some people may say it's a coincidence, but not the royal family. See, they sitting there watching these cases and trying to figure out the best lie they can come up with to justify this fuckery. So let's keep that in mind. So we're going to go back over here, and I have some things I want to read to the royal family. And y'all know I'm not going to read a whole bunch of gibberish. Y'all can read it at your leisure, and when you see it, you probably will feel the same way that I do. Just to let you know, I tried my best to find out what this judge looked like, and I could not find her picture. And let's get into it. In rejecting the prosecution's entire case, Judge Stevenson seemed to accept many of the same defense arguments that were rejected by jurors who, in October, convicted Officer Jason Van Dyke of second-degree murder and aggravated battery. He is scheduled to be sentenced Friday. The judge said there was no indication that officers tried to hide evidence. Wow. The evidence showed just the opposite, she said. She singled out how they preserved the graphic video at the heart of the case. Now, see, that's some bullshit. The police officers have no access to these cameras. Now, the only power that they have, they can cut it off and they can cut it on at their leisure. And based on my memory, they wasn't even aware that it was on in one of the surveillance cars. It was not, far as I can remember. I didn't research that part, but I know a lot of us as avid researchers, if I'm off on that, please let me know. So that's some BS, because now you want to make these criminals gangsters in monkey suits like they're angelic. They will never be me or you. So as we continue on, let's see here. The judge rejected prosecution's argument that the video demonstrates officers were lying when they described McDonald as moving even after he was shot. She repeatedly stated that McDonald was moving after being hit by the first few bullets and refused to relinquish the knife. These people. An officer could have reasonably believed an attack was imminent. She said it was borne out in the video that McDonald continued to move after he fell to the ground. Those and other comments saying she accepted an argument juries in the Van Dyke murder trial seemed to reject. Okay? In the Van Dyke trial, the juries reject that he was an imminent threat. They're always using that. They always get real scary, and they become unprofessional real quick and inadequate real quick when they murder us. So let's see here. Okay, so she said, I'm gonna read it over again. Those and other comments suggest she accepted an argument juries in the Van Dyke murder trial seemed to reject, that Mcdonald was a bona fide threat. Oh yeah, they over-exaggerate our stuff. The video appeared to show the teen collapsing in a heap after the first few shots and moving in large part because bullets kept striking his body for 10 more seconds. Referring to at least one officer who disputed the accounts in the report drawn up by 3 defendants, the judge said it is not unusual for 2 witnesses to describe events strikingly different ways. Okay, I'm not going to read through all this gobbledygook because they just go on and on with it. So the judge want to play dumb too, and they know why they had, why they skipped having a jury trial, because they know they wasn't gonna make it at all. So I'm gonna play these 3 videos, and then I'm gonna tell you what I'm seeing spiritually.
Cheryl, since the video of the shooting of Laquan Mcdonald was released in late 2015, many who saw that video had strong reactions and strong opinions about what Officer Van Dyke did that night and fellow officers on that scene and filing reports afterwards. For some outside this courtroom, this case was about the entire Chicago Police Department. But for the judge overseeing this trial, what she says she saw was only the facts presented to her.
The relief was immediate.
Heartbreaking for my family. A year and a half.
In court, 2 retired Chicago police officers and a suspended officer listened to an hour-long explanation from the judge, which ultimately meant they are free to go.
She heard every word of the testimony in this trial, and she concluded, as we did a year before, that there never was a case here.
The state failed miserably in sustaining their burden of proof. David March, Joseph Walsh, and Thomas Gaffney are innocent men. They never should have been here, ever.
Judge Dominica Stevenson said similar wording in police reports did not rise to the level of criminal behavior. And the police dashboard camera video only shows one angle of the scene back in October of 2014. The 3 were on trial for conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and official misconduct for reports submitted after fellow officer Jason Van Dyke shot Laquan Mcdonald 16 times. Van Dyke was found guilty of murder for his actions in a separate trial. The special prosecutors acknowledge the challenge of criminal prosecution of police officers.
This has been a crack in the wall of the code of silence, and that others will think twice about engaging in conduct that might land them in an investigation such as this.
Now, in court, right after the judge was finished offering her ruling, there was a brief outburst of applause. Those applauding were reprimanded by the sheriff's deputies in the courtroom. And certainly these officers have had supporters here in court and outside of court. But reaction to this verdict goes beyond the walls of...
All right. So we're going to shut this down and make sure they don't get any...
Introducing my new...
Oh, no damn pop-ups. Gonna freeze that right there. Let's get that. There we go. So let's continue on. I'm skipping that. We don't need to see that shit. Get deeper into it right here.
3 police officers and their attorneys achieved a not guilty finding in the cover-up case, overcoming not just the state's evidence, but also beating the elephant in the room, the large looming presence of a police code of silence. This has been discussed for decades, a debate refueled by today's decision.
We do hope that this has been a crack in the wall of the code of silence and that others will think twice about engaging in conduct that might land them in an investigation such as this.
The special prosecutors made it clear this was a code of silence case, arguing that when Laquan Mcdonald was wrongly killed by Officer Jason Van Dyke in 2014, these 3 officers helped to cover it up by falsifying police reports. Some community members and activists tonight are saying the judge's triple acquittal is part of the code of silence.
This is what people have to understand in the city of Chicago. That blue code of silence is just not with the Chicago Police Department.
Yes.
It expands to the judicial system.
Yes, it does. War has been declared on us because this verdict lets us know that the blue code of silence is alive and well in Chicago.
This kind of result really makes it difficult to break any code of silence that there might be.
Former federal prosecutor and ABC 7 legal analyst Gil Sofer tonight says the state was overly dependent on the disparity between police video and the officers' written reports.
She found that the dash cam video was taken from a different perspective, from a different vantage than the police officers had. She just wasn't willing to go with the state's theory.
With today's acquittal, the president of the Police Officers Union concludes there was no code of silence.
These 3 officers were vindicated, but they paid a heavy price. And they have been badgered for over a year, and they shouldn't have been.
Police critics and community activists now say they expect to see a harsh sentence tomorrow for Officer Jason Van Dyke, who was already convicted of killing teenager Laquan Mcdonald. While the 2 prosecutions are in the same building and do involve the same police shooting case, there are different judges and different circumstances. Van Dyke is asking for probation. He could get up to 96 years. His attorneys, the government rather, has not asked for any specific length of sentence, but it could be 96 years.
All right, Chuck. That, of course, still coming tomorrow. Now, Mayor Rahm Emanuel and Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson issuing a joint statement following today's court decision, saying in part, we will continue to take concrete steps to restore trust with communities across Chicago because trust is the best public safety tool we have. And once again, Jason Van Dyke will be sentenced tomorrow. We'll have live coverage starting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. You'll find that on our website. And
okay, that's enough of that. Let's see here. Let's make sure we shut this down. And we see the mayor of Chicago. He was all involved in that. He was the one that actually held on and hid that footage, paid Laquan Mcdonald's family off quietly so he could maintain his position and be reelected. Oh, everybody's hands is crazy.
Talk for about an hour. Your reaction to her decision?
Well, it was well thought out. Judge Stevenson is a very experienced judge. She's been around that building for probably 30 years now, and she put a lot of time and thought into this. The fact of the matter is, when you have excellent lawyers on both sides, which you did have here, an experienced judge, the facts and the law went out. And the bottom line is the state had to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. And what Judge Stevenson said is the evidence just wasn't there. It was short of beyond a reasonable doubt.
You said you watched most of this trial, and you said the witness was a problem, the main witness, the special prosecutor, Pat Brown Holmes, saying that the technicalities in this case were unprecedented. So how do you think that played a role in today's decision?
Yeah, so if you just look at the counts, conspiracy, there was very little, there was no evidence, there was no emails, there was no witnesses saying, I heard the 3 officers or 2 of the officers speaking about a conspiracy. There was nothing to show that they conspired to do this. Secondly, you go to obstruction of justice. As the judge pointed out, she saw evidence that pointed the other way. I mean, if you look at March's conduct alone, he canvassed the area. He separated witnesses. He interviewed half a dozen or more witnesses, and he himself impounded the tape that this case is all about. If he was going to cover it up, he did just the opposite. And then finally, when you get to the witness that you're talking about, Fontaine, she really hurt the state's case. She was impeached dramatically by her own testimony in a federal grand jury under oath, in which she basically said, I did say all those things. I did say everything in that report except a half a sentence she confirmed that she said. So it was very damaging to the state's case.
This is it for these three men? They cannot be tried again?
They cannot be tried again. Double jeopardy kicks in, and they cannot be tried again for these charges.
And the state as well. This is over for most of it.
This is over.
And the Code of Silence was also on trial, it appears. When this nation and this city and this country talks about it, that appears to be on trial today as well.
Yeah, those are the allegations, that in this case there is a code of silence. And, you know, the code of silence applies to life. The code of silence applies to families. It applies to all professions, doctors and lawyers and police officers. So that was the allegation here, but they couldn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
All right. Leave that alone. Try to catch this little pop-up. There we go. I got your ass this time. Oh, yes. So.
Mcdonald, who were in the courtroom when that verdict was read this afternoon, are furious about the judge's decision. They say it proves that not only is the code of silence alive and well among police officers, but that it extends into the courtroom as well.
This is the outcome Chicago's black activist community absolutely did not want.
Our worst nightmare has become true today.
I expected a guilty verdict because the prosecutor had done what she was supposed to do to present that they were guilty. To say that these men are not guilty is to say that Jason Van Dyke is not guilty.
It's personal for Pastor Marvin Hunter. His great-nephew's murder by Officer Jason Van Dyke triggered a years-long fight against the alleged code of silence.
The verdict says to police officers that you can lie, cheat, steal, rape, rob, and pillage, and it's okay. We will support you and make sure that you never see the inside of a jail cell.
We all watched that video. We read the reports that Officer Walsh, Officer Gaffney, and Detective Marsh put. They falsified those police reports. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand what they did was illegal.
Ministers and activists aimed their ire specifically toward Judge Domenica Stevenson.
In this particular instance, with a single judge who favors police officers, making a decision in order to protect those she prefers to protect, did injustice to our community.
Tonight, 2 retired Chicago police officers and a suspended officer walk free.
What happened here today, this miscarriage of justice, will definitely have implications tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the officer who killed Laquan McDonald will learn his fate.
Activists were already prepared to show up for the sentencing of Jason Van Dyke tomorrow. Now they are calling on the entire city of Chicago to come join them both in the courtroom and at the courthouse. Tomorrow's sentencing will be decided by an entirely separate judge. It is a completely separate.
Okay. Sick of these folks. Let me see here. This is the last one, family.
I think that it solidifies my initial comment at the beginning of the Jason Van Dyke trial that says that the entire Cook County criminal justice system was corrupt and the federal government needs to come in and take charge of it. This lady has apparently taken money from Ed Burke, and she's a part of that machine. And so I think from the beginning, she had her mind made up to make sure that there would be no justice. And based on what has just happened in this courtroom, I believe that not a young man or woman that is in this court today can receive justice if all the judges feel and are acting as way that this judge has acted. And I think that she's done everything in her mind to make sure that we will accept this misjustice that has just taken place in this courtroom. This is not justice. This is not justice for the constituencies, for the people that are the voters, for the people that are the residents of the county of Cook. Because of simple fact, if you've committed a crime, then you should be prosecuted for the crime that you have committed. I think the prosecutor done a yeoman's job at presenting her case. I do not think that she was off at one iota at her presenting of this case. Of course, now I'm not a lawyer. But not even being a lawyer, just listening to what she has done and how she has done it, I think that this judge had it made up in her mind for what her reasonings are to make sure that these gentlemen never see the inside of a jail cell. The verdict says to police officers that you can lie, cheat, steal, rape, rob, and pillage, and it's okay. We will support you and make sure that you never see the inside of a jail cell. The next step is I'm asking everyone in the city of Chicago, everyone in the county of Cook to be at this courtroom and to be at this building, at this sentencing, so that this judge and this world would know that we're looking for a meaningful sentence on tomorrow, a sentence that adequately fits the crime in which Jason Van Dyke has committed, and that what has happened today, the world will know what has happened today hopefully will not happen tomorrow, and we're going to be here standing in solidarity to say that we do not want it to happen, and we're not going to be happy if justice is not done tomorrow.
Okay. Let me shut this down, family.
My prescriptions used to be...
All right. So, let's go back over here first. So these pigs here, and it was actually 4 in total. I was thinking deeply as the videos were playing out, and I know some of us remember that they immediately went in cover-up mode, because remember at the fast food place, they were deleting footage but being filmed while they deleted footage. We all know that they falsified documents, and how the enemy is thinking, we gave you one, you ain't getting the others, because you can't explain away 16 bullets. But they want to insult our intelligence. First, Van Dyke did when he was speaking before the jury, saying that that little knife that he had was a threat, and he was just so petrified of the knife. We have all seen the footage. I'm not going to play that footage because it hurts for us to see that over and over. They keep that kind of stuff out to invoke fear. So then you take the judge saying that that knife was a threat. Well, if the knife was such a threat, why did they call backup to see if they had a taser? And they knew that he was high. He was a danger to himself. Some of the erratic things he did and stuff. Once he got shot, then Van Dyke said, oh, he was welling the knife at me. Even one of their reports said that too. But like I said, when they dealing with us, everything is amplified. Let's get straight in cover-up mode. That's what they do naturally. You know, they'll talk about the training and all of that. And then you see how their timing is with all of this. So, now the last part that I want to talk about is, as I was doing my research on this, I was saying to myself, why is it that the enemy literally go into a deep frenzy, spend enormous amounts of money, do every type of trickeration they can use when they have slaughtered us in the streets of America? Why? I tell the royal family often, look at everything with your spiritual eyes. So my spiritual eyes was on deep. And this is something that I've been noticing, my royal family. Lately, the enemy been going out of their way to point out who's a threat in the royal family. Now, just recently, and they're still doing it now, they jumping on Farrakhan. But when I look at it spiritually, you're saying that you fear us. You're showing who is our leadership. in any other us, male or female, in our royals too, and our elders too. So when you really look at it, they really are also letting us know this is what our race fear. Because we the chosen ones. We the chosen ones. And I was taught this by my dear father. The very thing that the enemy fears, they will project it on you. You give it back to them. They speak in volumes of their fears. To deal with one of us, one of our kings, let's use it for just that right there. They will literally get 3 to 4 or 5 or how many as they want to subdue us because they are utterly afraid of our king's strength. Think about that. So they already know deep in their subconscious, even though they try to come off as Billy Badass and try to intimidate us, it's always overkill with us. So you're concerned. Now, we have hit that paradigm shift, my royal family, and all these different events are happening. I mean, it's going fast, 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 fast. And we're seeing the enemy. They can't hide their fears no more. They're openly showing their fears because of what's going on in these last seconds. So when I'm looking at this so deeply, it speaks that we will fully get our powers back. We will fully. And the enemy is acknowledging it, and they don't even know it. They fearing shit, and they don't even know why they fearing it sometimes. I said in a video 2 years ago, while all these events is happening, we will see people do things we ain't never seen before. We will see marches where people are aimlessly marching and they don't know what they're marching for. They're fearing something. They're fearing us. They know what they have done to us, and they know what to continue to do to us. And they don't know nothing else but to continue to do what they do. And they fear us taking over. Now, the ones of us who is deranged, they'll say, well, let's be fair about everything. You can't be fair with the devil and the devil's children. That's insane. It ain't gonna work because of their nature. So how is what our natures is just and right, and then theirs is the opposite. It ain't gonna work because that's how they get down. And some of us ain't getting it, but they getting it because they fear it. And when they run out of everything, they will fully bow down and submit to the chosen ones. So they use what they use in their system. It's always overkill. It's like the Amber Geiger case. I've been saying, why, now that you got 3 lawyers, this bitch killed 1 king. Not 3, 1. What is your concerns that you had to add a 3rd one? That speaks volumes. Look at it spiritually. Really look at it real deep. That they can't deal with us one-on-one. No. I can even remember I had somebody complain on me at work over some bullshit. They called me to the office. I'm standing in front of 2 white men. I'm in my early 20s. And I could see that then. See, when they were dealing with me and talking to me, they weren't really talking to me. They was talking to James Alfred Newman Jr. Child. So he basically showed up. His spirit showed up. I was in my early 20s, didn't have a lot of experience, but I knew one thing, I wasn't going to buckle. So it took two of y'all to deal with a 22-year-old. Just think about that in your own personal life. Have they dealt with you one-on-one? No, they can't. They have to lie, rig shit up in their favor, double up, triple up. Do what you do, enemy. Continue to do your dirty deeds. It ain't gonna stop. Prophecy. It ain't gonna stop. We know the ending of our story. So keep doing what you're doing, because you ain't getting away with shit. I'm gonna keep putting in the universe. You will never get rest for doing what you have done to my people. So these pigs may feel like they have gotten away with something. Their life will never be the same. They tainted. They are a disgrace. They're peasants. We are royalty. Stay your ass on that throne. And keep speaking to the universe, my royal family. Clear words. Be very clear in your intentions. So I've spoke that in the universe. And I've been doing that a lot. I've been doing a lot of telegraphing. Sometimes I'm quiet about it. Very quiet about it. That nasty bitch that poisoned Jazzy Rowe. She never gets rest. I can name off plenty, but y'all know where I'm coming from. I never lose sight of those type of things. Y'all hear me laugh. Y'all hear me joke. I'm dead ass serious. War. 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 War is very real. And I'll fight you in many ways. You messing with my family. And we amongst peasants. And some of our own want validation. So you will feel the wrath too. That's the enemy's supporters, the very people that want to hold up white supremacy, the others. You have accepted their faith. So I just wanted to put that there, my royal family. I wanted us to look at that too. Continue to keep looking at this spiritual. Continue to keep leaving them comments, because y'all gonna say the very thing that needs to be said, because all of us is reading. Even though I am speaking, I will sit up at night and read each comment. I may not answer them, but I'll reach each one. And I also delete the bullshit, the racist shit, and the cooning shit. Yes, I do. And if you don't like the way I talk, get your ass up off of here, because I'm not begging you for anything. I'm going to speak core, because my family don't play. I'm going to keep it clear. So I'll leave it there, my royal family. Render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.